Well, can I also add my welcome, and it's fantastic to see all of you. And this is my opportunity to talk to you about my Master's year. So can I start? Master-elect, wardens, fellow liverymen. I'm very pleased to speak to you today. I have an able assistant working on my slides. So it was the best of times, it was the worst of times. Charles Dickens' opening lines so resonate in our own tale of two cities, BC and AC, after COVID, that is. Well, we're not quite in the French Revolution, but it's certainly a very poignant moment for us, as we have all suffered deaths, sadness, isolation and anxiety for our jobs and the future. And my heart goes out to all of you who have suffered and are still unclear about your prospects. Now, this speech traditionally is intended to summarise the past year from the Master's point of view, usually with a lot of hubris and gratitude and fun. But it's fair to say that actually I don't really like looking back, or if I do, I really want to reminisce only in terms of what will the review say? How could we have done it better? And falling into lockdown after 2/3 of the year means that perhaps I've had an even longer time to reflect. And in working through the last 1/3 of the year, it helped me put into focus what is important about the livery and forms my thinking as to what we can learn and how we can come out of this in a better state. So I make no apologies for that reflective and serious challenge to us all. What is the livery for? Now if we could move on to my slide with the officers. So my theme for the year, you'll recall, was linking the livery with the city. And my guest at the first dinner in October was the town clerk in the middle there behind me with other city officers who took up my theme with significant discernment. He explained that the City of London Corporation's corporate plan is no less relevant to us in the plasterer's livery, underpinned by 4 pillars. Relevance of purpose, reliability of service provision, responsibility in how we manage our assets, and being open to being radical in our approach. The 4 R's, these values, are about preserving our history and heritage, whilst adapting and evolving to the changing city around us. But taken together, those 4 R's, relevance, reliability, responsibility and radical, have helped us to achieve a 5th R, which is renewal. And these are all pertinent to the plasterers, and a prism through which we can review how we operate, why we exist, especially at this inflection time in our history. Now, as you know, I have been writing a monthly article for over 5 years for the plasterers about different aspects of city life, and then published it in my book, The City of London, Who, What, Why. And I've directed all the proceeds to my charity of the year, the Museum of London. The book has been a calling card to upskill members of the livery about the City of London, but also for fellow masters who I've often given to as a gift, and our affiliates. And indeed our clerk designate, Garth, bought a copy during the interview process and was bold enough to say how much he'd learned from it at the final interview. He got the job. And with that bedrock of knowledge, the city was a thread throughout my year. So my additional events reflected that. The sheep drive and the street fair over London Bridge. The Red Cross Market in Guildhall. A visit to the Court of Common Council in January, and the pancake race in the Guildhall Yard. And then finally, just before lockdown, Glenn, my consort's visit for other consorts to the Heathrow Reception Centre, and the view of all those animals under lock and key for the Corporation of London. As a livery, renewing our support for the Lord Mayor and the City, we need to understand the part that we have to play, to write the stories which will define this great city for the centuries to come. So please don't think that the livery are not relevant to that story of this great city. So we made it to our other partners in this enterprise, our military affiliates. They're a very strong link for us, a link that we have to the wider society. And I've enjoyed a range of wonderful visits to the Marines, to SRR, to Portsmouth and to 282. Our links here are firm, but we need to ensure that both we and those units can build on these steadfast collaborations in order to make better use of the engagement that we have. Now, our initial purpose as a livery in 1501 was to support the plastering trade. And if we don't do this, we fail. Without the skills of someone like Past Master Terry Wright, I was really in the infant stage and I was keen to learn and do more. I was determined to attend the World Skills event, the competition for the UK team against all those other countries, and this entailed a trip to Kazan in Tatarstan, an impressive event, and I was able to take part in sessions that also led to a report on the future of the construction training industry. The training awards, our own training awards in November, and the Finishers and Interiors Sector Awards are always a showcase of the work. And working with the FIS, I think this could be a way forward to make us more relevant and more impact in the industry. And so I welcome today our new assistant, John Riley, who is both a liveryman with us and a director of FIS. He will be an excellent ambassador for us. Added to these industry links, for the first time in some years, we awarded Master Craftsman certificates to 5 long-time plasterers of note, and with a welcome to them to come and join in the plasterers' livery in whatever way they can. I've also tried to explore a way in which we can give more of our charitable funds towards plastering. And this hasn't been so easy to find the right vehicle for this, but believe you me, I haven't given up. But of course we have our existing links with the Prince's Foundation scholars, Ju Sota and Greg Smith now this year, and they've been a great exemplar of how we can work. This is about being a reliable partner to our professional contacts. Our place in the livery world is also important, and especially our work with the Construction Livery Group. This year, the Master Pavior held a conversation about the future of construction. I feel that as our Prime Minister calls for more infrastructure projects, there will be a need for more skilled workers, and we need to be at the forefront of that job with work in the dry lining and plastering, or else again we fail our next generation. The help we can give via our charity or our industry links to training and the profession, or our promotion of skills and lobbying, are needed now more than ever before. Our relevance will be judged by our membership, reflecting the trade and the craft and wider society. We know that our membership are our best assets, and I'm pleased to see our many new members who will be welcomed at the robing ceremony after this common hall. A great and growing bunch that will be wonderful ambassadors in the future. We cannot stop reaching out to make our membership diverse in every possible way. So now to answer the question, what did you do during COVID lockdown? I believe that the Plasterers' Livery can feel we have responded actively in this time. We've pressed the fast forward button on digital communication and meetings. For the future, we will need to allow committees to meet virtually or in a hybrid basis, which will probably ensure, frankly, a better attendance and more regular attendance of members. The usual fellowship of our wonderful dinners in the hall has morphed into, at this period, the Plasterers' Mates. I asked Past Master Richard Hannay to mastermind a ring round of our older members who were largely, I'm pleased to say, in good heart. I hope you still are. What I heard back from the mates who were doing the ringing was the benefit that they received from calling this older generation with stories about their lives and about the early plasterers' events. Well done, and thanks so much. And I know there are many others of you who are also keeping in touch around the livery. And this is also why I instituted the Gypsars and Daubers online. Not satisfied with Zoom committee meetings, I wanted to try some livery events as well. Traditionally, we don't always hear from our trade or charities during the year, and so it was a good way for them to talk to us direct and have that cross-fertilisation. I hope you found them as much fun and interest as I have. Finally, during lockdown, we looked at our charitable funds in order to make some immediate extra donations to help those in need. More will be demanded of us, so please give generously when you can. So when you boil it all down to the essentials in lockdown, what is our purpose? What do we need to keep doing? Are we radical and ready for renewal? Reverting again to John Barradell's comments, institutions, both public and private, are subject to greater scrutiny than ever before. The imperative to renew institutions. At the heart of our institutions is the story of our individuals, and here I name those who I think have been important in the recent past. Our past master, Derek Robinson, who sadly died very early on this year, who redesigned our hall, where we all are now, in the early 70s. Past master Nick Carr, again, who has sadly now passed away, who kept engaged with the livery to the very end. And liveryman John Robinson also, who had helped us through generosity, and liveryman still with us, Heather Dix, both of them showing the spirit of generosity to the charity and to our livery. Great examples. These are stories combining commercial success with social conscience. Stories of opportunity, community and philanthropy. Stories of individual commitment, having a positive impact, a lasting impact on communities. We should follow them. And then, when we least expect it, new things will begin to blossom, like the pyramidal orchid in our garden. I trust that we will continue to shape our livery in this way for the future. Now, I want to conclude with some heartfelt thanks and gratitude, as I mentioned earlier. First to my wardens, Margaret and Stephen, and to wish them well for their coming year alongside Tim Stokes. Also to thank the court, committee chairs and the committee members for their engagement and positive attitude. To thank the team in the clerk's office with Nigel, whose term concludes now after an amazing 10 years of guidance and diligence with the best interests of the company at heart. To Ali, who is our continuity point, and as we welcome Garth, now well ensconced. So finally, to thank you all, livery members, for allowing me to take on this role, and to wish you all the best for the future of this wonderful livery company.